Y&R Spoilers reveal that Lily, once a beloved and admired character, is now a reflection of Victor Newman himself, a symbol of power, coldness, and sometimes cruelty. Looking at the change in her attitude and behavior, one cannot help but ask, has Lily really become a new version of Victor, or is she just a victim of the harsh world she lives in? And in that world, what consequences are her actions causing to those around her? Lily Winters' change. The price of power. As Lily becomes tougher and less patient with those around her, she not only reflects the harshness of a man like Victor Newman but also begins to change dramatically, from a pleasant person to an individual who is always defensive, suspicious, and sometimes rude. Throughout the recent episodes, Lily is no longer the girl who used to be kind to those around her, but instead a person whose every word and every action becomes calculated and unpleasant. Lily, like Victor, begins to act in a way that is less considerate of other people's feelings. She does not hesitate to poke her nose into other people's business, sometimes problems that she is not responsible for solving. She no longer has the sympathy or compassion she once had. Instead, she becomes cold, only concerned with herself and the goals she wants to achieve. Lily, in a way, has borrowed from Victor's book to write a new script for her life. Her change is not easy to accept, especially when she begins to act rudely and shows little kindness to those around her. She seems to have been dragged into this powerful world, losing her true self in the process of struggling and dealing with the challenges that life brings. The confrontation between Lily and Audra Charles, tension in the relationship. One of the hot spots in Lily's relationship on Young and the Restless is the confrontation between her and Audra Charles. The relationship between these two is not just a competition at work, but also a conflict between different attitudes. While Lily is harsh and suspicious of everything, Audra, despite her own calculations, still maintains her composure and intelligence in her behavior. The relationship between them is not only tense at work but also at personal level. Lily constantly investigates Audra, even calling Holden, her boyfriend, to ask if something is going on with Audra. This makes it clear that Lily is not just a woman in Holden's life, but also someone who constantly tries to control and judge those around her. These actions not only strain her relationship with Audra, but also make those around her feel suffocated. The erosion of family love. Lily and Devon. One of the sad aspects of Lily's story is the change in her relationship with Devon. Previously, Lily and Devon were always a great pair of siblings, supporting each other in work and life. However, when Lily began to act in Victor's style, her relationship with Devon became increasingly strained. Devon, with his calm and somewhat easygoing nature, could not understand why Lily had become so difficult and cold. He wondered if she was going down the wrong path, but Lily, with her hard look, did not easily accept the interference of others. Lily's change in personality affects not only her work but also her family relationship, as each conversation between her and Devon becomes less empathetic and more prone to conflict. Michael Baldwin and his discontent with Victor Newman. While Lily is following Victor's footsteps, no one feels this tension more than Michael Baldwin. Michael, despite witnessing many changes in Victor's behavior, continues to work with him throughout the years. However, Victor's rudeness and distrust towards Michael seem to have crossed the line. Michael, who in theory should have received recognition and thanks from Victor for his work, is treated coldly and even contemptuously by him. Although Victor always sees Michael as someone who can help him in his work, thanks have become too much of a luxury for Victor. This indifference makes Michael feel increasingly undervalued and ignored, which not only causes dissatisfaction but also makes him start rethinking his relationship with Victor. Characters often face change and transformation, but few have changed as dramatically and unexpectedly as Lily Winters. From a compassionate woman, willing to help her loved ones and always maintaining caution in her work, Lily is now gradually being drawn into the world of power and intrigue of Victor Newman. Lily's recent actions show that she may be gradually becoming a tool in the hands of Victor, who has long been known for his dark and ruthless plans. Lily and Audra will become important cards in Victor's power games, and the question is whether Nate, the man Lily once loved and trusted, can stop their plots. Can Lily's hasty change bring about unpredictable consequences, not only for her but also for those around her? Let's explore this story more deeply. Lily Winters' sudden change. Lily Winters is no longer the girl we once knew, who was always willing to listen, share, and make fair decisions. Over the years, Lily has built an image of a strong but kind woman, especially in her relationship with her brother Devon and the employees at Chancellor Industries. However, when entering a world where power and strategy are the deciding factors, Lily has begun to change. Instead of continuing to stand in the position of a mediator, she seems to have chosen the path of caution and calculation. Lily begins to act more strategically, and this is not only a reflection of her maturity at work but also a change in her personality. Her decisions are no longer based solely on reason and emotion, but increasingly tend to serve personal interests, even the shady interests in Victor's world. Lily's story is now not only about a woman fighting for her career, but also about a person who may become a tool in the hands of powerful people. This change shocks not only her loved ones but also everyone who has trusted and admired Lily. Victor Newman, the man behind the conspiracy. Victor Newman, with all his power and influence, never works in a hazy way. Every move he makes has a purpose, and he is always ready to use the people around him as pawns in his strategic chess game. In Lily's case, Victor seems to realize that she can become an extremely useful card in his schemes. Lily, with her sharp intellect and leadership ability, may be the one to help Victor carry out his grand plans without arousing suspicion. However, this also means that she will have to accept giving up the values and principles that she has previously maintained. Lily's relationship with Victor is not just a working relationship but also a calculating game where every move can lead to unforeseen consequences. Together with Audra, Lily can become an important part of Victor's schemes, raising the question of whether she will be completely swept up in his calculations, or will she find a way to escape and return to the righteous path she once pursued. Lily's rapid change will certainly cause surprises for the audience, and wrong decisions can lead to dire consequences that no one can foresee. Audra, the companion in the plot. Audra, a new character on The Young and the Restless, is not simply a strong woman at work but also a person with a clear purpose in life. Since her appearance, Audra has attracted attention with her sharp strategies and confidence. While Lily is slowly getting caught up in Victor's schemes, Audra is no slouch either. She can become a valuable partner for Lily in Victor's schemes, and also help her execute his plans with careful calculations. The relationship between Lily and Audra could be one of the key factors that will create major changes in the story. Both of them could become powerful tools in Victor's hands, but do they really understand what they are getting into? Can Audra make Lily understand that not everything is worth pursuing, or will Lily completely fall for these shady plans? Can he stop this plot? Nate Hastings, a conscientious doctor and also Lily's longtime lover, will certainly not be able to stand aside when he notices the change in Lily. He used to be her companion in important decisions, but now, with Lily's actions becoming increasingly ruthless and impatient, will Nate be able to stand up for her and protect the values he has always held dear? While Lily is caught up in Victor's power play, Nate will face a difficult choice. Can he protect Lily from these evil plots, or will he have to watch her continue to fall into Victor's hands? Their relationship will face its greatest test, and Nate's decision will have a profound impact not only on his and Lily's lives, but on everyone involved in the story. Unforeseen consequences. Lily's sudden change will not only affect her but also everyone around her. The decisions Lily makes in the process of cooperating with Victor and Audra may lead to dire consequences that she cannot foresee. Lily may lose Nate's love, or even face serious consequences at work when Victor's schemes gradually become clear. In addition, Lily's wrong decisions may lead to the collapse of the close relationships she has built, especially with Devon and her friends at Chancellor Industries. Lily, although a strong and determined woman, cannot avoid mistakes when she is caught up in too much power play. Conclusion: can Lily find herself again? Lily Winters' story is developing in a direction that no one can predict. The decisions she is making may bring irreversible results. She is on the brink of a major change, and no one knows whether she will be able to retain her values or will be completely caught up in Victor Newman's schemes. However, one thing is for sure. The Young and the Restless will continue to surprise viewers, and the story of Lily, Victor, Audra, and Nate is sure to bring dramatic and tense plot twists, unanswered questions, and unpredictable consequences. Will Lily become Victor's right-hand man, or will she find a way to escape this vortex? Only time will tell. Victor Newman, one of the indispensable characters on The Young and the Restless, has always been a symbol of power, leadership, and sometimes ruthless tactics. Over the years, he has firmly been at the center of many relationships, conflicts, and struggles in the intrigue-filled world of Genoa City. However, a noticeable change is taking place, not only in the way Victor treats those close to him, but also in the way the characters around him begin to react to his presence. In this article, we will analyze the change in Victor Newman's personality, especially his relationship with Michael Baldwin, and the negative vibes he is giving off to those around him. Victor Newman, from symbol of power to anxiety. Victor Newman is no longer the man that people worship and respect like he used to be. In contrast to the image of a strong leader, he now shows increasing anxiety, doubt, and insecurity. Although he still maintains his position at Newman Enterprises, Victor's actions and attitudes no longer seem to have the same strong influence as before. One of the highlights of the recent story is the change in the relationship between Victor and Michael Baldwin. Michael, who was once an ally and also an important part of Victor's empire, is now facing coldness and indifference from the man he considered his protector. While Victor still maintains his power, his actions no longer show the same respect and trust for Michael as before. Michael Baldwin and the insecurity in the relationship with Victor. Michael Baldwin, who was once a trusted partner of Victor, has begun to notice negative vibes from the CEO with whom he and Victor built a strong business empire. These changes not only make Michael feel insecure, but also make him start to doubt their relationship. Michael has helped Victor in many difficult situations, from solving legal problems to important business strategies. However, the coldness and indifference that Victor has shown recently makes Michael feel abandoned and no longer valued. When Victor says, "When did you fall for him?" it is not only a question that Victor asks Michael, but also a question that Michael is asking himself: is their relationship really as trustworthy as before? This question not only shakes Michael's confidence, but also makes him start to think about his future at Newman Enterprises and the next steps in his personal life. Victor Newman, the source of anxiety and insecurity. Victor Newman has always been a man who is not easily shaken, with a strong influence in the business world and family. However, throughout recent episodes, he has begun to show signs of anxiety and insecurity. In particular, Victor's impatience with those around him and his increasingly hostile attitude towards Michael only add to the tension in his relationships. One of the key elements in Victor's change is the way he begins to react to the arrival of other characters on The Young and the Restless. Those around Victor, from his family to his business partners, sense that he is no longer the man they once knew. Victor's anxiety is not only evident in his work, but also in his family relationships. Especially when he and his longtime wife Nikki increasingly disagree on how to run Newman Enterprises and personal matters. The two seem to be at a major crossroads in their relationship, as tensions remain unresolved. Michael Baldwin and finding his own path. Michael Baldwin, with his intelligent and practical personality, begins to realize that he cannot continue to live in the shadow of Victor Newman. Although Victor has been his protector and mentor for many years, Michael has now matured and realized that he needs to find his own path. The relationship between Michael and Victor is no longer the same, and it seems that Michael feels the need to stand up and decide for himself. This becomes even more evident when Michael begins to seek new opportunities to assert himself, not only in work but also in personal relationships. Although there is still a certain dependence on Victor, Michael is no longer a blindly loyal person but a mature man who knows how to stand up for his own rights. Victor Newman and the loss of fans. Victor Newman, throughout his journey, has always been a character that fans cannot live without on The Young and the Restless. However, the change in his character. Can Victor find himself again? Victor Newman, for all his power and influence, is now facing a major test in his life. Changes in his personality and attitude towards those close to him are slowly losing the respect and affection he once had. His relationship with Michael Baldwin, one of the most important relationships on The Young and the Restless, is in serious danger. Perhaps, Victor needs to find himself again, or face losing everything he has built. The people around him can no longer tolerate the anxiety and coldness he brings, and if Victor does not change, he may pay the price for his decisions. The question is whether Victor can recognize this change and find his way again, or will he continue to sink deeper into insecurity and loneliness in the powerful world he has created? Can Lily change? Lily Winters is at a crossroads in her life. Will she continue to follow Victor's path, becoming a paragon of power and ruthlessness, or will she find herself and realize that this path does not lead to true happiness? Her relationships with Devon, Michael, and those around her are becoming increasingly strained, and it may not be long before the consequences of this attitude begin to become clear. Lily's future on the young and the restless remains uncertain. She may be the next to pay the price for this change, or she may find a new path for herself, one that does not rely on ruthlessness and power. But until then, Lily will have to face the consequences of her actions, and those around her will not be able to endure this change forever.